Welcome back to the Crypto Bubble channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is still running into this critical area on the price chart, but is getting closer towards a major break of this level, while the price of Ethereum is now forming a new pattern that we need to pay attention to, as we are just moments away from the upcoming Fed meeting, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside the price of Solana testing a critical area of support in the short term, while XRP is also doing the same, testing critical support in the short term. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today, just quickly recapping on what I said yesterday about the upcoming FOMC meeting, also known as a Fed meeting, because at the time of recording this video, this upcoming interest rate decision, which is a result of the Federal Reserve meeting, will be released in just a couple of hours from now at the time of recording this video. So by the time you're watching this video, it might have just happened, but I just want to remind you that I will be sharing this number as soon as it gets released, within a matter of seconds of it getting released, over on my Twitter. So if you want to get extra real-time updates throughout the day from time to time, check out my Twitter link below. But in case you missed my last video here on the channel, the expected number is 4.5% as the interest rate decision. So if we get 4.5%, that should be relatively neutral for the markets, because if we're looking at what the markets are actually pricing in right now, basically everyone is pricing in for no change in interest rates. So essentially interest rates staying the same at that 4.5% level in the Fed funds rate on the high end. But if we somehow see a 25 basis point rate cut, which means reducing interest rates by 0.25%, that could likely pump markets across the board, and vice versa. If we somehow saw an interest rate hike, so increasing interest rates, that would likely dump markets. But based on what markets are currently pricing in, these pricings have not changed since my last video yesterday. So there's currently a 0.5% probability of a 25 basis point rate cut, so reducing interest rates, so less than a 1% chance of that happening, and right now a 99.5% probability of no change in interest rates. And as I explained in my last video, just leading up to when this number gets released, which by the way gets released at exactly 7 p.m. in the GMT time zone today, so 7 p.m. GMT, you can use that to work out for your own time zone. But like I explained yesterday, just leading up to this time right here, when the number gets released, we might see a bit of volatility in the minutes or in the hours leading up to this number getting released, and then roughly half an hour after the number gets released, we also might see a little bit of short-term volatility, even if we get the expected outcome. And that's due to the fact that we basically have the Jerome Powell press conference happening roughly half an hour after the Fed interest rate decision, and essentially based on what he says in that press conference, that can impact the markets either way. So just expect a bit of short-term volatility over the next few hours as a likely scenario, but overall, if we get the expected outcome of no change in interest rates, we'll probably not see any massive moves, just a bit of short-term volatility. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today on this weekly time frame, right now, technically speaking, on this chart, we're still within a larger bull market. So not a lot has changed on this chart over the last couple of days. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, of course, once again, we're still within a larger bull run, but we're still taking a bit of a shorter term break during the bull market, very similar to what we saw pretty much exactly 1 year ago. And if we're looking at the loss in bullish momentum here in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, obviously roughly around a month ago, we were losing a lot of bullish momentum, and that's where we saw a big slowdown. Obviously, we went from a lot of bullish momentum to basically no bullish momentum right around here, roughly around a month ago. But if we're looking at the momentum in this MACD indicator, the slowdown of bullish momentum is in itself starting to slow down, which means soon it might start turning around and we might start regaining some bullish momentum here in the short term, especially if we're looking at what happened last time. Obviously, no guarantees. This is just what these signals are looking like right now. And if we're taking a look at the 4-day time frame, technically the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, of course, we still have a possible bearish divergence, which is flashing on the weekly time frame. So something to pay attention to, a possible warning signal that could end up playing out later down the road. But as of right now, we still need to see a bit more confirmation to further confirm this bearish divergence, with ideally this lower high actually being put in place with this latest little bump right here, because Because, for example, if Bitcoin continues this little bullish move further towards the upside into new higher highs, and if that drags the RSI further into new higher highs above these previous highs, then there'll be no divergence at all if we have higher highs in the price alongside higher highs in the RSI. So we still need to see a little bit more confirmation here for this bearish divergence, but while it is forming, it is something to watch out for maybe at some point in the next few months or so. And if you want to be prepared to take the trading opportunities in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take a lot of my trades over on the Bitfinex exchange, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some exclusive rewards that are only available using that link. So for example, if you use that link to make your account, then just deposit $100, you get a $20 bonus. Or if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $100 bonus straight into your new account. Or simply just by trading on that account, you can get a brand new Apple Watch, Apple AirPods, or even up to a brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max simply just by trading crypto on that account if you use the link below this video. Because remember, those bonuses are only available using that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. And also, in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want Bitfinex, there is also Bybit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I will also make sure to leave a link to Bybit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. But with that being said, taking a look at this Bitcoin chart on the 8-hour time frame, and as of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin, just like yesterday, is still retesting this area, which was previous support and also previous resistance, and currently at the time of recording this video is still acting as short-term resistance, and that's sitting in between 101,000 to 103,000. And so, like I said yesterday, when the price was close to possibly breaking this level, I said we need to see candle closes above 103,000 in order to actually confirm the breakout above this area. So for now, until we see that signal confirmed, for now this is still acting as resistance, which means continue to expect the price to struggle at least a little bit here in the short term around this area. And so far we've been exactly doing that over the last one day, and that could continue for a little longer, but perhaps around the Fed meeting, depending on that outcome, we may end up seeing another major move. So keep that in mind. The Fed meeting could really change things in the short term depending on the outcome with that Fed meeting. And if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout with candle closes above 103,000, not just candle wicks to the upside, then in that case, if ideally we not only break out but also flip that area into new support, the next major area of resistance to the upside is sitting in between 106,000 to 107,000 as major resistance. And above that, we could also find a bit of resistance at around 108.5k to 109,000, basically around the all-time highs. And as for support, of course, if we confirm a breakout above 103,000, this area would likely become new support again, but for now that has not happened, so this is still acting as resistance. But as for other levels of support to the downside, we do have some support around these lows just here at pretty much exactly 100,000 acting as support, and below that we have more support at around 98.5k. So really in between 98,000 to 99,000, we do have a decent amount of support down there based on previous resistance flipping into new support. And in the worst case scenario, if we were to see a major rejection from this resistance, in that case, we also have this significant area of support down here sitting in between 92,000 to 93,000. But obviously between now and then, we do have these other levels of support to watch out for first. And if we're taking a look at this 4-hour time frame, obviously over the last couple of days, we did play out this oversold signal in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI, helping to reset the RSI back to the upside with a bit of a bounce in the price of Bitcoin. But now that the RSI is trading closer towards neutral levels around the middle of the RSI indicator, I'll not necessarily rely on this too much further than this point right here. And so of course it is possible we could continue more of a bullish move later on, but it'll not necessarily be based on this signal. It would have to be based on another signal, like for example confirmed breakout above 103,000. That would likely help the price start heading up towards this next resistance, but for now that has not happened, so this is still acting as resistance. And like I just said, I'll no longer rely on this oversold signal playing out much longer. And as for the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, the important levels of liquidity to watch out for. First of all, to the downside, we have a lot of liquidity at around just above 97,000, basically in between 97.2k to 97.5k, acting as an important level of liquidity. And to the upside, we have a small amount building at around 104,000, but most of the liquidity to the upside is at around 107.5k approximately, and also more sitting closer towards 110,000. And so those are really the important levels to watch out for on the Bitcoin price chart, which will likely drag the price closer towards those levels. So if we start seeing a little bit of a pullback, we'll likely hit that level at around 97,500, for example, or once we actually break out above 103,000, once that level actually clears, because like I said earlier multiple times, that's still acting as resistance, but once we clear that level, then we'll likely head up closer towards around 107,000 as a major, essentially a major magnet for the price of Bitcoin, pulling the price towards that area of liquidity if we first break out above this resistance. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and as of recording this video, the price of ETH is running into this important area of support right here, and that's sitting in between around 3,000 to 3.1k. And of course, if we break below 3,000, especially with daily candle closes below 3,000 in the short term, that would be bad news. In that case, would likely see a breakdown at least down towards this area of support, sitting in between 2.7k to 2.8k, and that 2.8k level is definitely an important level of support based on significant previous resistance and significant previous support. But for now, while the price of ETH is still holding above this area of support, above 3,000 to 3.1k, then in that case, as of right now, we're actually forming a possible falling wedge pattern, which is statistically a bullish pattern because more often than not, it breaks out towards the upside. Of course, it is possible it can break to the downside. It's just statistically, that is the less likely scenario for a falling wedge. And so really that $3,000 level approximately is the level where we can basically throw away the falling wedge and expect to move down towards 2.8k if we first break below 3,000 with confirmation. But for now, like I just said, we're currently forming this falling wedge, which obviously has not yet confirmed any breakout because we still have this line of resistance sitting at around 3.3k approximately, and we also have this area of resistance still sitting in between 3430 to 3560, and more resistance at 3.7k, and significant resistance in between 3.9k to 4.1k. But the technical price target for a falling wedge, the complete technical price target, is basically the top of the wedge, sitting at close to $4,000 as a price target if we first confirm a breakout above this line of resistance at around 3.3k. And of course, even if that happens, we cannot ignore other points of resistance that can possibly prevent the price from heading towards that price target. But I just want to make it extra clear that for now, that possible price target right here in this pattern is not in play. It is not confirmed because we've not yet confirmed the breakout above this line of resistance. That is what is needed first before confirming the price target for the pattern. And of course, like I said earlier, if we break below 3,000, then we no longer have the falling wedge and expect to move down towards 2.8k. And so we can potentially use that information in a trading strategy. So for example, if we first confirm a break below 3,000, we could possibly have a small little short position down towards close to 2.8k, and then take some profits around there from a short position. That could be a possible trading strategy in the bearish scenario, but we first need to wait for that confirmed break below support as the signal to perhaps open a trade, and vice versa. If we never break below support and instead we confirm a breakout above 3.3k, that could possibly be a bit of a short-term signal to long Ethereum, just for example. As always, not financial advice. I'm just sharing a potential trading strategy in basically how we can make money no matter what direction the price goes here. We just have to wait for a signal to confirm first before entering one of those trades. And remember, if you want to trade any of those moves just like that in the price of any crypto, check out those links below this video to claim those extra bonuses over on those exchanges. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 8-hour time frame, as of right now, the short-term price structure is technically still looking bearish as we are forming lower highs and lower lows, but we are running into this important area of support at the time of recording this video, and that's sitting in between around $220 to $225. And if we were to see a confirmed confirmed break below $220, then in that case, the next important area of support to the downside is in between 200 to 205. And below that, we have significant support in between around 178 to 183. But of course, between now and then, we have a lot of support to first pay attention to, mainly at just above 220. And now, if we end up seeing a decent bounce from this area of support, in that case, we could find a small amount of resistance at close towards around 238. But the main points of resistance I'll be watching are sitting at around 245 to 246. Above that, I'll be watching 260. And above that, I'll be watching around 270 to 271 as major resistance points. And as I usually say, Solana, along with a lot of the top crypto coins out there, will likely play out similar price action, not the exact same price action, but similar price action to what Bitcoin is doing. So for example, if Bitcoin has a major bullish move, we'll likely see something similar for a lot of the major altcoins, and vice versa. If Bitcoin has a major crash, we'll likely see something similar for a lot of the major altcoins. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the 4-hour time frame, as of recording this video, the price of XRP is running into this important level of support, currently testing this level, and that's sitting at roughly around $3.04. So really at just above $3, we do have a decent amount of support right there based on previous support. But if we were to break below that level, we have some more support closer towards around $2.95. So really in between roughly $2.90 to $3, give or take, we have a decent amount of support in that area based on previous price action. But if we were to break below those levels in the short term, in that case, the major area of support to the downside to watch out for is sitting in between 260 to 273. So really in between around 260 to 270 as major support. But the short-term trend or the short-term price structure for XRP, as of recording this video, is actually relatively neutral. That is right. We're not overly bullish or overly bearish for the price of XRP just in the short term. We are looking relatively neutral because the price is basically in a bit of a sideways price range, chopping around sideways between these points of support and this area of resistance, which is still sitting in between around 329 to 337 as major resistance. And before that area, we also have a bit of short-term resistance that we have established closer towards around $3.20. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at Chainlink on the daily time frame right now and over the last one day, we did indeed just confirm a daily candle close below this Fibonacci level of support, which is sitting at around $23.70 approximately. So like I already explained in my last video, Chainlink in the short term at least is simply looking bearish. The price structure is already starting to look bearish in the short term, and especially now that we have confirmed the break below around $23.70, this is just another short-term bearish signal. But the larger price structure is currently somewhat neutral. We're in a bit of a massive sideways price range here during a larger bull market. So that is the larger price structure, but the short-term situation, as in talking about the coming hours or days, possibly the next week or so, that sort of time frame is simply looking more bearish than it is bullish. And as for short-term support to watch out for, where we could possibly bounce from, we do have some support at around $22.20, and below that we have significant support in between $19 to $20. So that's the major area of support that I'll be watching out for the price of Chainlink. And as for resistance, I'll now watch out for this level right here, which was previous resistance and was a bit of short-term support, but is now once again acting as resistance, sitting at around $23.70. But if we were to see a breakout back above $23.70, in that case, the next resistance is at around $25.40, and above that, more resistance closer towards $27. But with that being said, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, like I said earlier, check out those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those extra bonuses. But if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit from all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.